Hey, yo, what is going on, guys? Got episode number 68 of Marvel Yap for you guys today. Today, we're going to be going over the brand new Weapon X season, giving a recap of the Anarchy season from this past season, as well as talking about the brand new Grand Arena mode. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we are joined by the hostest with the mostest, the man with the mustache that could thread a bunch of towns together because of how luscious and long his mustache is now. How are we doing today, Dance?
I've thread towns together. That's a phrase I've never heard before. Anyway, I'm doing well, my man. I hope you're doing well as well. You have a good you celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yes, I do celebrate Thanksgiving. I had a great Thanksgiving. I did a lot of cooking. I did my mom's mashed potato recipe. I made mac and cheese, and then I made my own cranberry bourbon barbecue sauce glazed sausage skewers.
I want those. I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't. So I love Thanksgiving. I love all this stuff. There's one thing I make. The only thing I make is mashed potatoes because when I was a kid, I realized I absolutely loved them so much, and I decided to spend all the time I could figuring out what I liked in them. And I have a recipe I've made now that I think is pretty solid, and I just never really enjoyed cranberry. But the cranberry sausage like barbecue glaze thing, that's kind of. Oh gosh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge cranberry fan growing up either. We didn't really have it at my house. But ever since, my wife was like, no, you got to have cranberry sauce and stuff. I'm like, wait, cranberry sauce does kind of elevate things when especially comes to Thanksgiving. I mean, you think it more often than Thanksgiving than like I'm just normally going to be putting cranberry on a bunch of stuff. But it just meshes really well, the sweet and the savory, especially with the Thanksgiving-esque foods. So having it on a sausage too with a bit of that bourbon to give you a little bit of that, like the bitterness of like the cranberries, a little bit of sweet. And then you also have just like the offsetting of the bourbon itself too. It gives it a nice like full circle kind of flavor. It was awesome.
Oh my, that sounds amazing. I'm gonna have to. Gosh, all right. I don't know when I'll be seeing you at some point, but we'll have to do it. You realize we've been doing this for, over a year, and we've actually just never met in person. I think we've been in the same state a couple of times, but same state isn't the easiest thing for us to be able to like actually say hi to each other or jump in.
States are fairly big here in the U.S., especially if you go to Florida. There's different parts of Florida and everything too. Just like we have different parts of the Yap today, Dance. We're gonna be talking about.
Oh God, the segue's mint.
Our recap on Arachnid Anarchy. We're gonna be talking about the brand new Weapon X season that releases today, and then we're gonna probably have a brief overview of Grand Arena. We talked about it a bit in the last Yap, but I think we're gonna give a little just overview of some of the decks that we've seen data mined for the Grand Arena. But we have a lot to talk about today, so we are going to go ahead and jump right into our recap of the Arachnid Anarchy season. Starting off with Spider-Punk. What did you think of Spider-Punk, Dance?
I really think that this card. I mean, I was lower on it at first, and I've already said that I was wrong about that. I think it was I definitely think it just did a good job with what it was supposed to do. And I didn't think I gave it enough credit at first. And I really enjoyed it. I think it was a pretty solid card in the end of the day. I liked it. I don't know. How'd you feel about it?
I think it was pretty good. I think for a season pass card, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was a cool night of concept to see like what people could flex this in. And I like this in like the mid-range move deck, which you got to see a lot more prevalence in general as the season continued to progress. Of course, people were also running this in the just extremely good Human Torch move deck because why not have another card? You're dropping Vulture anyways. Why not have, Spider-Punk there? But I think for a season pass card, it is a nice, okay. It does its thing. Anything super crazy or flashy, but was okay.
Yeah. I don't even know if it's like, I'm not even going to take the season pass part of it. I think the thing that I didn't think about this card and I really enjoyed is that, for one, it's a moving scalar, but it's also a moving scalar that leaves an effect of power basically by your opponents being negative on every single lane it moves to. So while it scales, it also doesn't force you to have all the power in a single lane because then every single one of their cards is kind of spread out across the board with a bit of minus power, which I didn't think about it first and I really liked it. So this card was a lot better than originally said. I'll talk about all of our we had a bunch of rankings and stuff for all of those, but this wasn't the only card that released in the season pass.
No, it wasn't. And I also want to say, Dance, what you're talking about too, like leaving an after effect. I think we're going to be able to talk about even a bit more when we talk about the Weapon X season, kind of like the way Snap was kind of foreshadowing some of the stuff we have going on. But yes, the next card we had in the Super Premium Season Pass was Man Spider, which I was completely wrong about this card. I had this card very low on my rankings and was very low on this going into the season. But I would say, as Dance's camera disappears,
I just died. Okay.
that this was one of the better cards of the season, and it created a brand new style of play, I would say, in Snap.
Yeah, I think so. It was a lot of fun. I really liked what this card was able to bring into the game. This was a brand new deck, basically, just in this card. And I saw people saying, like, this is, they were like, this is just Shuri, but new now. And this is also just busted as a card. And I just think everyone's wrong. I don't know. It just was good. I just think it was a cool card. I just liked what it was able to do. It was different. I don't think it was busted. And just because it has the word double, I don't think it's Shuri.
Yeah, no, I think when Shuri was super prominent, Shadow King was more still, I think, like a 4 or 5 cost during that time period, whereas this does get bigger than original Shuri and stuff too, and is a global ability, but you have the tech to be able to play around that, which I think is more beneficial for it now, and I think this card is okay as is. If you don't have the tech, you're just gonna kind of lose. Like, that's just kind of how the game goes anyways in Snap in general.
Yeah.
Just retreat, count your losses and try not to, lose more than you should. Like, that's pretty much what you do in this situation.
100%. And it was fair. I think also with a lot of the zombies from the prior season, it's still a card, or it's still a deck that goes around and has landed a lot better as time has gone on. And I feel like I was maybe wrong about it. I don't know. We'll see. But I feel like I was also wrong when I said that the extra point of power for Scarlet Witch was incorrect. But speaking of extra points of energy, though, we had Superior Spider-Man entering the fray, which this card was one that I was confused about. I thought that this was going to be a card that was just okay, and I feel like I think I'm the same way about Superior Spider-Man at the end of the season that I felt before the season started. It was okay.
Yeah, I think this is a good card. Nothing super crazy, super flashy. I think it's getting more and more enablers as, time progresses, which will continue to give this card more and more value. But I think this card is kind of just overshadowed potentially by some of these other cards this season that were just more flashy and did better things in general. Not saying not getting extra energy isn't good. Like, that is good.
No, it is.
But it's just at this current point in the meta, it wasn't at its true maximum potential, which I think it will just continue to get better.
I definitely think it's going to cards get better, but I don't even think it's something where it's like because of the other cards. I just think it's a card that it does exactly what it does, and you don't always need the extra energy. I just think it sounds weird, but it just sometimes it's just not worth the juice, isn't worth the squeeze. And I think I've said that quite a few times, and I'll say it again whenever we talk about Spider-Man Noir. But at the start of the season as well, didn't we also get a skill?
Yes, we also got Web Sling, which we were already playing in a move meta that didn't necessarily need Web Sling. It was a good alternate, but I think you had some great success with this card in maybe a featured deck or something.
I enjoyed this card inside of a different deck that whenever we talk about Prowler, because I had a lot of fun coping. It's just because it's a 1-cost skill, honestly, is the only reason I enjoyed this. Kind of doesn't, I don't know. Honestly, I'm coming at the end of web slinging. I'm like, sure, okay. It does what it does, but also Iron Fist isn't even inside of move decks anymore, and it's just kind of, at least some of them. I know it's still in some, but I've seen it being cut in others. So there's just a lot of cards that are fighting for that move slot, and it's good for what it does. I just don't know if it's insane or if it's a card that is gonna have much. I don't even want to say staying power, just like I guess relevancy. Is that a better way to say it?
Yeah, it's interesting to think of like what are going to be these set 12 in move decks, for like the long-term future. And it's like, is this going to be one of those 12 cards, or is this like the 15th or 16th card? And I think that's something like we're going to have to look at as, metas adjust and OTAs and stuff happens. Maybe that gives Web Sling more prominence, or is this a skill you use in other styles of decks? I think that's like a fair assessment too. It's like there's other things I'd potentially play over Web Sling, but maybe there's certain instances, maybe better hot location, or this would work better with a better card in the future, where maybe you get a bit more just, I don't know, play out of Web Sling.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be some interesting stuff, but we'll get to those cards that I want to talk about whenever we get there. But who come out next?
Good old big old Zeke Slim. Zeke Sims. Over here, Mr. Slim Shady himself. Big old Ezekiel Sims, the villain from the Madam Web movie. Which was another okay card. I mean, this card could scale, and I think you played this in a Surtur deck itself that felt pretty good. I was playing it with some just like Hydra Stomper move shenanigans, which I got him some decent power every now and then, but nothing really crazy. Another one of those situations that felt like it was like a 13th or 14th card I would maybe have in those lists.
I think Ezekiel Sims it just makes you feel worse about Silk. Is really kind of how I landed with this card. Like I did, so I actually played this a little bit when I was getting my weekend missions done for Spider-Punk. And I was like, yeah, all right, I can get this to some big power. God, it's annoying. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is a card that they could OTA. If they give it extra power, I think it's actually worse, which is unfortunate because like if they make it a 2/3, then it's harder to enable.
Yep.
Or in my mind,
dance.
It could be a 2-1 2-0 with a +3, maybe that instead.
2-1 +3, I think would make it better.
I mean, yeah, definitely. We'll see if they do that. This is a card that I feel like I think this is, and I'm gonna say this, even though I know I even mentioned Noir earlier. I think this is the worst card of the season.
This card's the worst card of the season?
I think. Okay. Oh, actually, hold up. Chameleon, I forgot, came out.
Yeah. I don't know if this.
All right, this is second worst. This is number 9 in terms of the 10 cards. I'm gonna say.
Okay, I think that's probably a fair assessment. As of course, the next card is the Chameleon or Chamomeleon, as Dance likes to say.
I love saying names wrong just to rage bait. By the way, I want to make that entirely clear. I'll say it.
We've noticed.
It's so much fun saying names incorrectly, and then people will just... It drives engagement, Tuck. I'm just getting us more comments. It's crazy. Anyway, Chameleon sucks.
Yeah, this, like... There's so many... Like, you play it in Cerebro 3. Yes, it works in Cerebro 3 in certain instances, and, like...
It's not even good there.
Yeah, no. And it works in the Sarah Onslaught 3-cost dump deck, but... I'd rather have a card I could play on just a different lane where I could use an ability differently opposed to having to commit
such a difficult ability to use.
Yep. So
just... the double... you need to not only have the same location, you have to also reveal it on the same... It's just such a... It seems like it's only 2 things, right? It may not be as hard. It is. It's really difficult to try to get both of those things done. So this one, I think... This is one that I would love to see at a different stat line, but...
Yeah, who knows? Maybe this card gets better with... other cards in the future kind of thing, but no, this kind of is just a bad card at the moment. And then we had Spider-Man Noir, which you have Chameleon above Spider-Man Noir for your rankings?
I'm going to say I don't think... The reason I'm saying it is very specifically because I don't think you need to build around Spider-Man Noir if you want to play it. I used a lot of like my Sanctum grinding with my Bass Spice Rack deck that I threw Noir into. And I liked it very specifically because you don't... As long as you don't try to build or try to like force Noir in, you don't try to use the Shaunas and stuff like that. You just like let it happen when it happens. It felt really good. And that was it. Like that was the big difference I realized in between what I had thought originally in terms of like trying to focus it and really force it versus it happens. Cool. If it doesn't, okay. And that's it.
Yeah. And I think that's the best way to play it too. Like I was playing like a hand buff deck, and like it felt great when I had the curve. But I also like I was playing in such a way where I didn't have to play into Spider-Man Noir every time. It was just like a bonus if I hit it. I still, had the mental like thing where I was like, well, I'm gonna play like this just in case. But it was more so I'm playing into Spider-Man Noir if I have Spider-Man Noir in hand. Otherwise, I play just the way I normally would play. If it happens, it happens. And if you do reap the benefits, you made all the effort and it paid off for you, which I think is very interesting, especially looking at this kind of week in the season. I know we're doing a lot of hinting at Weapon X, but there's a lot of stuff in Weapon X that kind of feels like I need to build up for this in order for this big combo to happen. And if I don't, things are going to fail. Kind of
yeah,
thing.
Speaking of, by the way, this isn't even related to the Weapon aspect because I think we're moving to the next card, but I'm just going to say I hate how, because I made this graphic for the middle bit, and I hate how squished the text is for Noir. And that's part of the reason why it changed again. I'm going to have a new type of graphic for the next season. We'll see if I think it works better, and I was able to fit more text in there, and I changed fonts. Hopefully it fits better, but also that's just me entirely saying different things. Deafening Chord, best card of the season.
Yeah, I think it's like nothing crazy. It's nothing flashy. It is the best card of the season. It does what it does really well. And okay, Deafening Chord. Boom, number 1. We were right. Like,
yeah,
it's just
it does exactly what it says in the box. I'm interested I'm interested in how it does long term, if it's too good, but also I think it just ebbs and flows with the metas. I'm also scared of this card because it does again, we keep hinting at Weapon X, but this is a direct counter to Weapon X. I'm not gonna say anything else, but like, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to end off. Best card of the season. It does its thing really well. Very flexible, 1 cost, tech card. Good.
If you don't have it, I will say that is the only card I think of this whole season. I will say this is like a buy these, by the way. Like that's one of the best cards I think this season. Well, honestly, Prowler might get there because of funness, but legitimately it's just best.
Yeah, I would buy a Deafening Chord if you guys have the opportunity to. If you're missing any cards, Deafening Chord is number 1 because it's 3 costs or less, which gives, something a card Dance really misses. It gives White Widow some value too because it can hit 0 cost cards. And then we had Hydra Man, which was the Sanctum Showdown card, which I've seen a very few people playing this post Sanctum Showdown. It's more like they got this card so they don't have to pay the extra tokens for it. But at a 5 cost, 8 powered body, I think it still has some interesting value. I actually saw someone get hit with the Hydra Man cable play actually the other day too, which was
get destroyed
crazy. After a Project Pegasus, I was like, what is happening?
It wasn't. I tried. It was so. Gosh, the card's fun. It does what it says. This is one of the ones where like, yep, it says exactly what you think it will do. Okay, I don't know if I care.
It's a couple of seasons, I think, too late. I think where the meta's at right now, this card would have been amazing maybe a few months ago. But now it just kind of feels a little okay. I'm playing a 5/8. It's like if old Sandman was a thing, then it would be potentially better. But like old War Machine Sandman, where you were limited to 1 card per turn kind of thing, maybe. But now it's an okay body, but it is kind of just nothing crazy. Whereas the Prowler seems really really solid.
This is gonna be, I think, a Kate Bishop of a card.
Yes,
this is such a great card. I've been waiting for a bit to talk about Prowler. God, this is the most fun card they've released in months.
Yes, and I think having the utility with pretty much any of the skills, yes, maybe you're not going to be able to get the extra energy because you played it on final turn, or yes, maybe your opponent's only playing 1 card into a lane for you to be able to play the Remote Mines. But I think in general, a still 1/2 is kind of like the same as sending an acid arrow, and you're not getting the clog, but you're afflicting the -2 power. You're gaining the 2 power instead of getting the extra energy with the Vibro Shock Gauntlets. But like, there's so much utility here, and like this put into perspective, Werewolf by Night just also is a very, very fun card. Like, and I think this kind of helped with that too.
And I've been saying Werewolf by Night's awesome, and I will forever stand by it. I think it's such a cool card. I love all the skills. I love everything it does. This card made me play 1 deck, legit, just 1 pile of cards 100 times because I had so much fun with Werewolf by Night, so much fun with Prowler. And also, we talked about Web Sling earlier, literally only because I could play with Nicholas Scratch, which I know there's obviously Cope in the Scratch, but legitimately getting that card to like easy, like I think I got it to, I want to say above 12 points of power without much difficulty, as long Killmonger notwithstanding. I think is the only thing I really had to worry about.
But there's not a lot of Killmonger. I think in general you probably are getting Scratch to at least like a 7-point threshold, which for a 1 cost.
Deafening Chord.
Oh, Deafening Chord. Yeah. Which in general, if you can get a 1 cost to 7 power, that's really, really good. You know what else is really, really good? This deck Dance is talking about, you can actually find on his YouTube channel. He has posted gameplay of this deck. I'm not going to spoil exactly what entirely is in it, but it is a really unique set of cards. You think maybe it's just all skills and things happening. It is a lot of skills in order to get that Scratch value, but you also may have some zombies. Maybe in there, which gives you another alternate line, which, by the way, like it is a great deck. And if Dance is playing a deck for 100 games, you know he's got to be having a lot of fun. So if you guys want a really in-depth, thorough breakdown of the deck with some great gameplay, talking through each of these play lines, definitely check out his YouTube channel, which will be down in the description below, where he goes over said deck, and also check out his Twitter, where he will be posting other decks as he's doing at least probably 2 or 3 different decks this week, as we have, you know, a good variety of new cards coming out. And if you want to catch them live on Twitch, his Twitch info will be down in the description below if you guys want to be able to talk to him and try and distract him while he is trying to record these games, and maybe offset some things. You can definitely check out his Twitch. Will be down in the description below as well.
Why would you tell them to distract me? That was toxic. I can't believe you would say this. That's so rude. Nah, it's just so much. It is just so much fun. I think Prowler is just feels like one of the best cards legitimately that I think they've released in a while. I love it. It's an absolute blast. Just like I kind of think Weapon X season does seem like an absolute blast as well.
It does, but how did we do ranking wise, you think, Dance, when we came to from start to now for Arachnid Anarchy?
Let me pull that back up. I definitely tagged away from that at the end of this bit. But that was so you and I both had Deafening Chord as the number 1 and Prowler as number 2, and I think I still stand by that for each of us. I think Spider-Man Noir, you had it as number 3.
Yep, because I was really excited to test with Spider-Man Noir.
I had it as number 4, and I have Man Spider-Man number 3. It's Superior Spider-Man number 4. I'm not going to go into the rest. And then we both had Chameleon at the end of the list. First, we also had Husky on that episode. Deafening Chord was his number 1. Superior Spider-Man was number 2. Prowler number 3. I think that Prowler is like, I think in fun, Prowler's best card of the season. However, Deafening Chord is going to be the just, I guess, best as well. Just
yes, the definitive best card of the season is definitely Deafening Chord. It's just, you want to also like have fun, you know, and card be good, and that's Prowler. Whereas Deafening Chord, it's not a fun card. It is literally just a tech card you're playing, and what it does really well. But just, you know, adding that into, you know, what's going to have me want to play this game more and more, and it's going to be more probably Prowler than, unless you love kicking over sandcastles, which is totally valid. If you guys love to do that, then it is Deafening Chord. But yeah, that is going to be the gist of our recap for the Arachnid Anarchy season, as we do move on over to the brand new season with a brand new graphic here. It is, as you guys can see, clean and improved by Dance. But as we do have over here, the brand new season pass card is going to be Weapon X, which if you guys do not know what Weapon X does, it is a 2-cost, 2-powered card with the ability, after one of your other cards is destroyed, plus 1 power. After every 3rd time, that means every 3 destroys, improve this effect by 1. So after 3 destroys, it would be plus 2. Once you get to 6 destroys, it will be plus 3. And that is power added to Weapon X.
Yeah. I mean, this is just going to be, God, this is a very interesting card. Very like a I think collector for like a destroy is kind of the way I think of it. I know it's obviously not 1-to-1, and making comparisons is atrocious, and you should never do it. Anyway, I'm going to keep comparing. I think that the card, it seems interesting. It doesn't seem busted. It seems better than, okay. I watched your buy a bust where you said this was going to be the worst season pass of the year.
Clickbaity bit there. Spoiler alert.
Yes.
I think Esme is worse than Weapon X, but
I was going to say Esme, and especially on release, Captain Carter.
Yes, but I still think
we also, by the way, you remember how much we coked on Captain Carter being fine? We're like, nah, it doesn't need to get changed. They changed it. We're like, all right, we were wrong there. It's so wrong. Yeah, I think the card is going to be, sure. I don't know if it's going to be amazing, especially considering that, you know, Deafening Chord is a new thing, Shadow King and everything else like that. We'll see. I like the idea of this card. It does seem fun. Whether or not it's good is a different conversation. I'm honestly more stoked about some of the other Series 4 cards coming out this month.
Yeah, I think some of the Series 4 cards, because I think we'll be talking about those in a bit, but I think Weapon X, I just think of the potential tempo loss from like a Weapon X and looking at this into other Destroy matchups. I look at this into something I'm wanting to play more Deadpool and stuff into. Yes, I know you can get death value, you know? I know you can get death value and you get death discounted quite a bit, but you also have to think about you cannot destroy cards on Weapon X's lane unless you're killmongering them. This is a card that has to be able to just not be touched in a sense. Like if you're Wolverine or something lands on your Weapon X lane, you can't destroy that Wolverine again. Like, you legitimately have to kind of just leave that card there. And something like Destroy wants to be able to do is have board space to play around with different options so they're not super one-dimensional. And I think that's one of the downsides with Weapon X. And I'm thinking, like, I'm talking about, like, with tempo here. I'm playing this out on 2. On 1, if I had the perfect curve, I have, Squirrel Girl, Weapon X, and then I have, like, a Killmonger, or, like, I have, like, an Airwalker or something, and I'm destroying things in order to get value there. But it's like, is that worth the payoff? I know it's a single lane scaler, and we have other cards that are single lane scalers. Like, I think of like Athena and stuff like that. But like the conditions I want to hit to be able to get Weapon X, because I want to get Weapon X at least to that +2, and I think that's where I really want to. 2.5 is okay, but if I can get to that 2.7, that 2.9, 2.11, I'm really doing things because I'm pouring into this with that. Whereas if I'm just, playing Wolverine instead, of course I have to destroy Wolverine a couple times, but if I destroy Wolverine twice, Wolverine then is immediately a 2.7. I don't have to destroy, 4 cards in order for my card to get to a 2.7. I just have to destroy 1 card twice. And I think that's kind of like what I'm thinking about with Weapon X. I know it's a different style of destroy and everything too, and I like that they're doing something new. It's just, it feels slow.
Mm-hmm. I think it does feel slow. I'm hoping that the ramping makes it feel a lot better. And I think one of the cards you mentioned, Squirrel Girl, is going to be almost, I think it's a necessity with this card. I think that's going to be the best card with it. In that, I think you just really would love to be able to, are we talking about decks now or later for this?
We'll look at decks after we've gone through all the cards.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk about that stuff in a bit, because I think that there's some really good stuff in what you're saying there. And I'll talk about the decks, and I think some stuff that will potentially work around it. But the problem is, obviously, it is going to be a bit narrow in what you're trying to do.
Why is this a season pass?
We'll see how good it is.
Why couldn't we have, like, legitimately, the next card we're talking about here is the super premium season pass card, Animation Infusion. This could have been the season pass card. We could have done a skill for the season pass card, and we would have been okay. Weapon X just kind of feels like a game mode card to me. Is that crazy? Like, it feels like something we would get from a game mode kind of thing.
It feels like a card that's going to need to get OTA'd, probably. Like, but you know what? Like, I'll say this forever. If it's not a good card, Second Dinner continually smacking down the pay-to-win allegations as they release these crap cards for season passes. Had to buff Viv Vision. Esme is still there. They had to rework Captain Carter.
Zombie Scarlet Witch? They had to buff Zombie Scarlet Witch?
They had to buff Zombie Scarlet Witch, right? Like, they are continual. I was talking to someone else who was like, it really sucks how they continually release these broken season pass cards. I'm like, mate, let me just go through these. Yep, they buffed this one. They buffed another one. They had to buff another one. They had to buff another one. You know what? For the beginning of the year, they had to nerf a few. Correct.
Oh,
but they've really come around, and
cards were OP. Like, straight up OP.
100%. I'm not going to deny it. But they've really come around. What is that? I even got his. Do you see? Okay, hold up. Sorry, this is random. Do you call this a sweater or a jumper?
A sweater?
Right, like a Christmas sweater. It's what this is meant to be.
I mean, I have a baby. He wears jumpers. It's
right. Yeah, that's what they're. That's so that I agree. But people have said nice jumper or whatever, because I've got I got a bunch of these like nerdy sweaters and whatever, and I'm like, that's not a jumper, but I'm not going to tell you no because you're complimenting me. Thank you, but what?
I don't know. Maybe there is like different terminology like down in the South, we don't call like shopping carts buggies, but I know in other states they call them buggies. So like
they call them buggies?
Like that. Yes, some people call them buggies.
God, the world's weird. Anyway, Adamantium Infusion. Sorry, it's for the sidetrack, but I do. God, I actually really do prefer this layout. I really do think this card seems super cool and super interesting. I love that we have multiple ways to revive cards.
What is Adamantium Infusion Dance?
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a 4-cost skill that says on reveal, revive your highest power destroyed card here with its power doubled, which seems really awesome, really cool, and it feels like it's going to have some pretty awesome uses.
By the way, Animation Infusion, the way it revives a card is like Ghost Rider opposed to Phoenix Force, because Phoenix Force, of course, revives and merges with the card, whereas Animation Infusion is revive your highest powered card here, like a Ghost Rider, since it does that, and you need 2 board spaces, because Phoenix Force revives it on the spot and merges into it. That's why it only takes up 1. So Animation Infusion has to go through the entire animation of pulling the card back. opposed to it being able to just do it into a single spot, which of course Dance is very upset about that.
Like, we've seen it. They've done it once with Carnage's skill, and they're going to be doing it again with Rocket Raccoon's skill. They say banish this to do thing.
Yes.
And the fact that you need 2 spots for this, like, I don't know. It's a 4-cost thing, and it has double, so maybe it's going to be a simple thing. But also, I don't know. This is going to be interesting. I liked what you had said in your buy or bust, where you mentioned just there's different types of things where this specifically gives you your highest power, whereas Elixir chooses only last turn. You have Firelord, which is a 3-cost only. Phoenix Force is random. You've got a bunch of different options for these revivals, and I don't. Like, they're all gonna have their places. I'm wondering if you can't, like, how much of the stuff you can do inside of the same deck as, right? We've kind of seen that akin with like the merge thing, which also, like, we didn't even talk about that, but merge kind of being its own deck was something we didn't expect out of last season, especially the Penny Parker. We thought that the points didn't matter, and it did. But like, I wonder how much
the Penny thing wasn't just because of the spider. It was because whenever Penny merges, that counts as another additional merge. So you get the extra energy, and then you get an additional merge kind of thing with Man Spider, which is what was the crazy aspect of that. Yes.
True. Yeah, that's entirely truthful. So there's a lot of. So I'm wondering how much this. I feel like Revive. If Revive does something interesting, if they keep messing with Revive more and more, I feel like that's gonna be something we'll be able to like really start cooking with. I'm interested in this card. I'm stoked about this card. I don't know if it's gonna be good.
Oh, this card's gonna be great. This card is genuinely gonna be really good. It doubles and is a targeted revive. The targeted revive then gets doubled. Yes, the board space is something, that could be a poisable issue. And, your opponents are going to know potentially what card is coming back. If you've destroyed a bigger card a turn before, they can kind of account for math that wise. But I think this is really good. Like, one of your downsides with Phoenix Force, if you have a bunch of cards in your destroy pile, you're like, well, I want to destroy this one, but I've destroyed 5 other cards. Where this is, I get revived exactly when I want revived. It is doubled. Of course, I need 2 board spaces in that sense instead of just 1. But I think this card is going to be really solid. I'm going to be using it in the Zombie Jet deck instead of Phoenix Force. So I can have that targeted revive. And I think, of course, you think of Nimrod with this. Nimrod is, of course, an easy shout for this. But I think there's also going to be a variety of potentially different options, which will be kind of cool. Maybe even using this in something like a Firelord styler deck, and maybe it's not the zombie version. Maybe it's more of the Sage and Cassandra Nova kind of thing with Airwalker and stuff. I think this is going to be pretty cool, and I think this totally could have been a season pass card opposed to just a super premium. But yeah, I am very stoked for this card, and this card will progressively get better as the season progresses too.
Yeah, and so this is, in case we didn't mention earlier, of course, this is going to be the super premium season pass card, and it's going to be available in the seasonal Series 5 snap packs. At the start of the new season. One thing I think that wasn't clear in the past, but I'm saying it here just to make sure it is well known. The if the new season card or whatever, like this, the Adamantine Fusion, the Supreme Pass card, it's not available for direct token buy until the end of the season. It is only available in the snap pack. So I've seen people being like, okay, why don't I have it in my options for the new Series 5s? They've said it's that way. I don't know why they've set it up in that way, and there's nothing in the game clarifying it. I mean, money is why. But the I mean, it is just straight up. Like, you can guess all these other things, but in the end, it's because they want money. But it's just not clarified anywhere in the game. I would like that as a clarification, even if it's like, I get it. You want more money, whatever. Companies, if they aren't progressing, they're losing or something like that. I don't know how companies work, but yeah. So if you want to get this, you have to get it in one of those 2 ways. You cannot buy it directly for tokens, but you can buy it for money.
You can buy it for money. But a card you can buy for tokens or in snap packs is going to be Chamber, which is the brand new Series 5 card releasing today. 2 cost, 3 powered. Activate +2 power for each 5 cost or higher card you have here, meaning on Chamber's lane and in hand. Now, what do you think about Chamber, Dance?
So this is a card it kind of took me a second with, and I wasn't certain what I wanted to do with him at first. I kind of thought there was maybe something I was supposed to be going with. I'm thinking of a bunch of different things. I'm thinking Doom 2099, which I don't want, but that could be a thing because you want some other big top end for stuff like that.
I was like, Doom 2099. I was like, the Doom butts are 4 costs. But then I was like, oh.
Because you get Doom as well as you can put it onto the board, and you typically can have some higher cost cards in your hand. that also can just kind of slow the game up, which maybe there's something there. I also think there might be an idea. I saw, of course, you talked about in your buy or bust with Hela, which is another really good shout. I have a very bad shout of Nick Fury. Because I mean, Nick Fury does just generate 3 cards immediately for this, and you could play Nick Fury and then activate Chamber and turn Nick Fury into with Chamber. I guess I don't know, but that's a 4 like both of them together. It's base 6/9, very nice stat line. Then you activate Chamber, and you get to go immediately turn that into
16.
plus 1, 2, 3 at 16. So maybe
15.
there's something there. I don't know if you have to play on the same turn, but I'm kind of coping a bit, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I think this card is okay. I don't think it's anything crazy. I think I rated it pretty high in my season video overview, but I wasn't also keeping in mind also like the Series 4 cards in that, which when we break here at the end, we'll kind of shift things. I think this getting into a 2/7 is probably your sweet spot. I think there's a world like in the Hela deck you could get it to like a 2/11, but like you have to have like the perfect curve in order to have something like that happen. So like kind of keeping that in mind, or you're playing this in like in Arashim, I think you could play this in Arashim and you maybe get more value potentially in Arashim, which I'm not gonna.
I don't like that.
Tell people
You're
to play
right.
Arashim.
I did think about it. I did think
but
about
even
that.
like Thanos, like older Thanos with like Sasquatch and Moonstone, or not Moonstone and Mockingbird and stuff. Like the pile I'll be talking about is like using Sasquatch and Mockingbird like in the Mysterio deck. Like getting this to 2/7 I think is good. But there's of course other scalers this season that are probably going to be just better than this. But I think it's a pretty decent card, especially at what we got for this season in general. Not like in the course of the game, like I'm not like this is absolutely amazing from the game. Like it's just okay,
It's honestly it's fine. I actually kind of like it as a similar card that it feels like it's going to be very similar to Frankie Ray Nova. Yeah, actually, I think it's a interesting. Like obviously they both have like higher cost cards or whatever, and they're going to increase. But they both kind of want that same thing. Again, I don't know. It feels kind of similar there. Maybe not 1-to-1. But if y'all actually want to know the correct things to be doing with this deck, check out Tuck's Buy or Busts, because of course he absolutely kills it in the full breakdown of these cards. Talks about the ins and the outs, the goods and the bads, and the highs and the lows, which are actually all different parts of the video. May sound like they're the same. Like those are actually all different parts of the video. So if you want to go check out all that stuff, make sure you go subscribe to the channel we're currently talking on right now, as well as you can be following him on Twitch, which he will be live day of the new season. He'll be live later today with talking about maybe Chamber, maybe Adamantium Fusion, probably Adamantium Fusion, maybe Weapon X, and he's going to be hitting Infinite all within a single hour of gameplay. It's going to be crazy. In the first hour of stream, he's hitting Infinite. It's so cool. So if you want to get there, make sure you're over at twitch.tv/TUCCRR. He'll be posting some highlights over on his TikToks and his YouTubes, of course, TikToker, same place, and on Twitter. So check him out in all those places. Infinite in 1 hour, not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed for sure. Thank you, Dance. Now, you know what is guaranteed? Get old Wade Wilson to be bad. We got Wade Wilson from the Grand Arena that also starts this week. It starts on Friday. I do believe, which Wade Wilson is a Series 4 card. It is a special event card, which is a 2-cost, 1-powered card. With the ability, when destroyed, replace this with a 1-cost card from your hand or deck with +1 power. Kind of think of the way like Airwalker's replace function works. Airwalker still is destroyed and goes into your destroy pile. It just summons pretty much the card that is targeted from the text.
Yeah, this is a card.
Yeah. Weapon X is way more plug and play than this. Like I think you're going to be able to do more mid range stuff there, and it gets +1 power, which I mean is okay with Wade Wilson things, but it's just like no.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like it just feels like it. Okay, cool. I don't know why I care about like the way this will work. Like I feel like it was like okay, cool. Maybe I could get like the Deadpool starting it off on the board. If you didn't have maybe a searcher for these 1 costs if you don't get it. Okay. Yes. Does Destroy need it? I don't know. I feel like the answer is no, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, cool. I don't have to necessarily play this 1-cost out. Like that is cool, but like you're talking about too, like when I'm playing Destroy and I'm looking at how I'm building my deck, I have like 3 to 4 sometimes different 1-costs in here, which I mean targeted drawing and stuff is good, but it's another one of those situations. I just spent my turn 2. Instead of setting up for a Deadpool or setting up for a ramp, I am playing this out. opposed to being able to really start to snowball, which is what I thought about was kind of the downside with Weapon X as well, is like I don't really get to maybe necessarily do my snowball unless I'm playing a different style of destroy, which totally you could be playing a different style of destroy. You're playing maybe a more of a mid-range kind of style. But like with Wade Wilson, it feels like the 15th or 16th card, maybe even, 18th or 19th that I want in destroy. Kind of situation. Like, am I playing Bucky probably still over Wade Wilson if I had to choose between the two? Probably.
I feel like if you have to, probably. I think there's a world where you want to do. The only place where I really see this card potentially being good is Morgan Le Fay.
Yes.
I think that's where this card has a shot. And to be fair, you get even cards like Angel being played in that deck. And maybe it's enough, maybe it's not. But a lot of that deck does like to be able to cheat cards onto the board. Again, with Airwalker, with, what is that? Even versions of Run Angel, Makari, and such. Wade Wilson can be a card you put in there. I don't know if it's good, but those are options you legitimately do have. Yeah. I don't know if the card's going to have actual staying power, if the card's actually good, but there is interesting stuff here. I'm not going to say it's bad immediately, but I'm not stoked on it. I feel like that because I feel like there are people who understand destroy better than me and will be like, wait, no, you can do insane thing, or like it helps your curve or whatever, and maybe the curve's enough for it to be good. Personally, I don't think it's great, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Well, what this would be good with is that instance where you have a Nico destroy draw 2 and you play your Wade Wilson. That is one of those instances where like this is
that is
great.
the line, yeah.
Like that is the great line. But it's how often am I going to be able to get that line and target the card I really want to? Because also in that Morgan Le Fay style deck, yes, I can draw 1 cost. Yes, that kind of helps me hit my combo. But if I'm like don't also have my Killmongers and stuff ready, like I guess it helps you fish for certain cards, but it just kind of feels a little wonky. Whereas the next card here, good old Weapon H, is the brand new Series 5 card on December 9th. 7 cost, 14 power. When discarded, put this back with -2 cost.
Gosh, I love this, how this card looks. It's such a cool card. I love that Marvel just said, listen, what the big 3 for a bit was Hulk, Wolverine, and Spider-Man. So they just said, let's just put them together. What can we do here? And Hulk and Wolverine, deal. And I don't care if it's like, oh, you just mashed up 2 characters. Yes, and it's awesome. Yes. This character is so cool. I don't know if it also just feels like a really good card in Snap as well. I feel like you're probably getting it to 3 more often than not, but if you can get it like really cheap, that'd be sick.
Yeah, no, I think low end, you get this to 5. And a 5/14, its downside, it had to be discarded 1 time. Think about a 5/14 right now. 5/14 Red Skull has the downside. You also give your opponents +2 power on each card, ongoing ability. And you have to negate that. I'm playing this in Black Knight instead of Giganto, instead of Hulkling. If I discard this 1 time, it stays in my hand, of course. But of course, if I have an Black Knight on the board, that's a 14 powered Ebony Blade. Like having this as an out there. I think Lorden made a great shout on the Snapcast today with Alex Kosha as well, saying that this is a potential good substitute for Khonshu. Like, of course, it's not the exact 1-for-1 because Khonshu also can revive a card that you discarded and give that card an additional benefit. But I think you're right. I think discarding this 1 time, it's a 5/14. Discard it twice, it is a 3/14. And I think the best way to discard this twice, of course, is going to be you have to sift first and then blade. Because if you do blade first and the sift, if you have other big cards in your hand, of course, it kind of has to mitigate between both of those. So just kind of thinking about that. Or if you if you blade Grandmaster, that also would potentially work.
I feel like you go Zombie Power Man. I think that's the answer with this card.
Or yes. If you're playing that style, I'm thinking of Black Knight myself because I have like 2 or 3 different discards. So that's what I'm thinking of.
The fact that discard and cool thing about Marvel Snap, which I'll just shout here, which I love, the fact that we can be talking about discard, both completely understanding each other, and then immediately be thinking of 2 completely different types of discard is awesome, and I do love that. But I think that like the classic style of discard more so, or maybe not even classic, but like the ones that use Zombie Power Man, maybe with Colonel America, that stuff together feels like a really cool place to use this guy. And if you can discard it a few times, then placing this on the Zombie Power Man lane is just awesome.
Yeah, no. And I think as another alternate to Apocalypse potentially too, it does stay in hand. Of course, you can still Modok this. You can still Corvus this. Like this is going to be a It's a discard card.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, it's legitimately just a discard card. But I think this has
the
a couple
ability does
different
say
options.
when
Yes.
discarded.
Yes.
That's it. Let's
But
just be very clear.
There's going to be, I think, a good maybe 3 decks, potentially 4, but probably 2 to 3 decks that I think this card's going to work well in. Which, when you're talking about a new card, which is narrow to a specific archetype, I think that is really solid for one of these cards.
I'm interested in seeing. I think I've heard people saying that they think this card's gonna be busted. I'm excited to see if it is, honestly. But I don't know. This is gonna be a really cool card. I know you're stoked about this guy. I am as well. I also kind of think that talking about the next card here, I think if we're gonna talk about changes to decks, I think Maverick might be a change to Surfer entirely. I don't think Surfer is going to be the same after this card. I feel like it's kind of played a little bit here and there, but this feels like if Surfer needed a buff, Maverick is it. Releasing on December 16th against Snapbacks as a 3/3 with the activated ability, give the next card you play power equal to this card's power.
Yeah. I think this card is one of the best cards of the season. I think...
And it works with ongoings.
Yes, it works with ongoing. It works with Surfer. Like, I think you, of course, are thinking about Surfer. And what I really enjoy about this is we were very high on Galacta on release. Of course, Galacta is something that procs multiple times. This can only proc once, potentially twice with Jocasta. But only procs once, but it gives its power. So if you get any buffs onto this card and the way that it reads, give the next card you play power equal to this. This is not after the next card is played, gain this. This works before the on reveal happens. So immediately the Brood would go to a 3/5. You know? You pair this up with a Galacta as well onto a Brood or another card that could potentially be 6 power added to another card before it reveals. And that is just if Maverick's not buffed itself too. Like, I think this card is a great enabler. Of course, great for Surfer, which Surfer itself has kind of been in a really rough spot, I would say, at the moment, opposed to all these really other power-heavy decks. Of course, it does have something like Shadow King, of course, now in Surfer at, you know, that 3/4 that it can use, which probably they are going to use in this style of play. But I think this card being a global effect, you can play it onto the same lane, opposed to Galacta having to be one of the other lanes, I think is going to be very solid for Maverick.
No, it's going to be sick. I'm very stoked about what this card can do. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. Whether or not this is just one of the cards I really just want to get my hands on. I want to be able to mess with it. There's so many different options here. I just like it. There's cool stuff here. But also the next card of the season, by the way, it's actually not a Series 5. We go into Marrow getting released. Felt like either a weird date kind of to throw her out there, December 18th, not even like a Thursday. I don't know. Especially considering two other Series 4 cards are technically be available on the same day as her. But also, speaking of Morgan Le Fay, oh my gosh, Marrow's sick.
Yes, Marrow for those Morgan Le Fay style decks, so you can proc this 2-cost 3 powered cards ability. When this is discarded or destroyed, split -6 power among enemy cards. Kind of think about how Kahori works. Kahori randomly adds power to cards on your side of the board. This is a set -6, though, across the board to your opponent's cards, and this is whenever it is discarded or destroyed. Morgan Le Fay would allow you to do this potentially twice, even in something like a regular discard, like you just Colleen this maybe or something. Like, it's not a bad shout just to be able to hit. You know, if there's only one card on the board for your opponent, it gets hit with -6. So like that seems pretty good just to have that as options. And you know, this is like one of more of those hints that we have a new style of decks coming this season with a destroy or discard, as we do have some of these other cards we'll be talking about too.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think just a fair thing would be to talk about, I think, Wild Child's next, if I want to guess correctly. Yes. Or is it? Yeah. Wild Child, which, by the way, is releasing in Team Clash, the game mode, with the ongoing ability, +4 power if you've discarded a card, +4 power if one of your cards has been destroyed as a Series 4, which has the base, or like the power of like 2/9 at the end, which is really good. And, I mean, these two cards releasing at the same time it feels like the most of them saying, so we want a new archetype. What if we discarded and destroyed, y'all? Please, can we try it? Thank you. I mean, they work together. It's cool.
Yeah, and I think getting this to 2.9 would be amazing, right? So you look at Chamber, you're like, Chamber, well, I have to have, 3 different 5 cost or higher in my hand or potentially at my location to be able to get to 2.9. This, I just have to discard and destroy in a game. Can I do that? Am I going to have another shout out to Lauren here? You have Black Cat. Oh no, my Black Cat discarded. But now I get +4. I lose 4, but I gain 4. And I think what makes this card better than something like a Chamber and something like a Weapon X is that it is ongoing. So if you draw this late, it is good. If you draw this early, it is still good. So I think that's what really gives this like the good benefit of the doubt there when it pertains to that, which I think is really solid. I think this is going to be really good, which is a 2-cost 1 power card, by the way. But I do think, Dance, the best card of the season is going to be the other card in Team Clash. And that is
I love the
Fastball Special. It is a 2-cost skill. On reveal, destroy your highest powered card here to inflict an enemy card here with that much negative power. And I think what I think about this, normally in some of these destroy decks, you're wanting to have Venom onto one of your big cards so that you can maintain that power in that lane. This is, you lose that power on your side of the board, but your opponent gets afflicted with that power you lost. So it is a net positive. And then you maybe have revive cards to be able to get that power elsewhere.
Yep.
And I think this as a 2-cost 2 makes it very flexible. And it's not super expensive to mess around with. Of course, probably at a lot of points this season, Luke Cage will be everywhere, but maybe we will finally get that rework to Luke Cage we've been begging for months and months.
There is an OTA for what it's worth happening this week, happening in a couple days. We're not talking about it because I'm be honest, we've already gone over what we over our time we wanted to for today. So we're not hitting everything else we could there. But yeah, Luke Cage would be awesome if they hit it this month. But yeah, it'd be so cool. I think it's awesome. I think the simplest thing with this is you mentioned the deck earlier. It's and also you get to put Fire Hair on the board. You just play, I don't know, it's a Sage or whatever in that lane. You then play Fastball Special on the Sage. Then you let your Fire Hair retrigger. Then you just in another lane play your Adamantium Infusion. That's your final turn, and you've gone up so much power and literally have not changed the amount of cards on the board.
Yes, no, you literally go crazy, and I think this like targeted destroy is so good. Anything that is pretty much targeted, you can really optimize to your best usage, and this gets countered by what? Cosmo. Cosmo stops this from happening. Shadow King, Luke Cage. But if I don't have priority into this, I don't get destroyed by an Goliath. Juggernaut could offset things, but I feel like being a skill, I think, gives it a lot of just extra utility, opposed to it being like a 2-0 on the board, Fastball Special. It feels really solid, and I think for a game mode card, this to me is that tier of Cassandra Nova / Kid Omega tier of a card that is going to be very useful for a long while kind of thing.
And for what it's worth, I love the fact that they are putting cards that are this cool into the game modes rather than, putting them in packs or something like that. This is such a cool card that they're going to be doing. And the fact that I think it's going to be given away for free. Technically, we don't have any confirmations in that bit, but it's super interesting, super cool, and it's in the brand new game mode Team Clash, which we'll talk about later on this month when we get closer to that. But
we did
it's
talk
going to
about
be
it already in the last Yap, though. If you guys do want to check that out, we do go over Team Clash and what some of these new cards' abilities are going to be.
Yeah, but legitimately, I think one of the things you had mentioned in your video talking about, I think it was Adamantium Infusion, but I think it's also super truthful for Fastball Special. You play Red Skull on turn 5. Turn 6, you Fastball Special Red Skull, and then you just play Red Skull again elsewhere with double the power. That's it.
Which Guest talked about that on stream, and I was like, that actually literally mitigates the downside of
That's literally amazing. That is awesome.
Yes.
They're like, oh, cool, I have the extra plus whatever power. Nope, now you don't.
And now my Red Skull's at 56 power. So what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
About that kind of
so
thing.
Good.
But I do really hope my gut just came to me here. I really hope that they don't lock this behind the premium pass for Team Clash. With there being 2 cards in the game mode, I'm hoping that it is more of the Grand Arena where we had Moleman and Man Thinker, where you could earn them that way, opposed to Well, you can get Wild Child, which is also another great card for a game mode. Really happy about
Yeah.
that. Is you get Wild Child from just the free version, but if you buy the pass, you get the fastball special. I'm really, really hoping we are not going towards that because that would be really bad.
I mean, it's going to be bad, but also if they've gone with the pricing and they've done the past, it's only 800 gold. And I know so it's like, and also for a Series 4 card to be 800 gold.
Yes.
I understand that people don't want the pass, and I get that. However, that's still a sick deal.
It's still
like,
better
I
than
don't
Kid
want
Omega.
Exactly, right? Like, I'm not trying to say that that's like what I want, but also it's not a bad deal. It's just worse than it potentially could be. We don't have any, I don't think we have confirmation on that yet. Maybe they mentioned it in the video and we missed it, but it is what it is on that stuff. But yeah, this is going to be a super cool card, super interesting in what this does. This is going to be potentially one of the highlights. We're not spoiling definitely what our favorites are for this season. But there's also another card that I think makes a new kind of deck, Aurora, with the on reveal. Give one of your other on reveal cards at each location, +2 power. You then repeat this ability for the ongoing cards, for the activate cards, and end of turn cards. So that's awesome. As a 6/6 releasing 23rd, snap packs, a little bit of an early Christmas present. This is a fun one.
Yeah, and I think one of the like highlights of this too, it says at each location. So it's not like she doesn't hit the cards in her location, which I think is great. I think that gives her even more value and gives her utility for a lot of these cards that have, ongoing and on reveal. Like Thanos has ongoing and on reveal cards. Like I think
Thanos is going to be the card with this, I feel like. That's
Yes.
the biggest one. There's Thanos, and I feel like the other one I'm really interested in is, like, I'd be surprised if Electro can be good. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Electro, technically. It's Electro, Ebony Maw, and Zombie Mr. Fantastic are the ones that Are those all the doubles?
Well, Ebony Maw is just,
no, it's just ongoing.
But Mr. Fantastic, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Electro, Thanos' Stones. You also have... I think those might be... We might be missing another one. I mean, we know...
I feel like there's maybe one more we're missing, but let us know down below which one we're missing, because maybe we're missing it. I feel like it's correct. Let us know either way.
Yeah, because...
Card's cool, though.
Doom 2099, they're just ongoings, right? And
they're just ongoing. Doom is an end of turn, to be fair.
So technically, you could play it in that style deck, too, because you'd also buff Doom instead of just the bots.
Yeah, actually, wait, hold up, because then you Electro and then there's the card Data Mind, I think, for next month or month following. That's like a really good one for Doom 2099.
Yes, I think it's something about.
All right, what?
It's not Dragon Man, which is the film lane. But yeah, no, I think there is a Doom 2099.
There's a different
card or
something.
something.
Let us. Old Blob is the one I was trying to think of, by the way.
Yes, old Blob would have worked as well.
Anyway, card's cool. I love what it's going to do. I think it's really interesting. I'm excited for this card to come into the game. Whether or not it's good is a different conversation.
No, Mercury's ongoing.
not. Nope.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's good is a different conversation.
Oh, no, this card's going to be good. I think definitively, you can get this.
I don't want to say definitively. They did buff this according to Data Minds.
I mean, well, they buff cards that are also good, too.
True. That's fair. And they did also buff Weapon X.
Yes. But I think just the value you can get from this hitting a large variety of cards doesn't make it so, like, with Spectrum, you have to play ongoing to get the value on Spectrum, where this also hits ongoing. Of course, it's one at each location. But I think just this card in general is going to be great to just, have some cool deck building preferences. And, of course, Thanos is going to be able to double up and go crazy, potentially, with this as well.
Thanos feels like the big one for it, legitimately. All right, I want your opinion. As the last card of this season... Is Phantom X going to be good or bad, in your opinion?
So...
You want to tell everyone what it does before you give me your opinion?
So Phantom X is a 4-cost, 6-powered card with the ability Activate. If you have had cards discarded and destroyed, afflict front row enemy cards at each location with -2 power. So this card has a ceiling of a potential 418 if there's no Luke Cage on the board, because it hits every single front row card on the opposing locations. I think this is kind of, a combo deck. Like, I need to be able to hit this. But, like, this is something you could wait until final turn to have everything kind of happen, which I think is helpful. I think this being an activate really raises the bar for it a bit. If it had been like an, whatchamacallit, if it had been an on reveal, I think that would have been bad. I think, honestly, probably ongoing probably would have been cooler. But I don't hate this as an activate. It's just going to be a super interesting build around card. It's like, how am I going to get this to work? And I think you totally have ways to get this to work. And I think it was really smart of them to have this as the last card for the season. I think that was really good to allow you to have other cards to build up into this. So I think at face value, it is going to be good, but it's going to take a lot to make it good.
I think in 2 weeks when we do the Yap, I'm just going to ask a preview of a section. I want us to talk about discard plus destroy and just what, because I feel like that's a whole, I know we could talk about this behind the scenes, but I'm just going to say it here because I think it's also interesting. And let us know if you have any thoughts, especially on the discard versus destroy. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff, especially because I think that week we're going to be getting Wild Child and Marrow, whatever.
Yes.
And Phantom X obviously coming out later, but I think there's a lot of interesting stuff just in that whole group. So I'd love to be able to, I want to break all that stuff down and talk about, and talk about how you, what you want for both ideas together. And because I already have stuff, but I'd rather be able to talk about it fully and hit a lot more stuff there. So just as a future thing, y'all, hopefully we'll talk about that later. But that's all the cards for the season, bro.
We got to rank them now.
We do have to rank them. There's a lot of really cool ones here. We start with our bottom normally, right? Let's start with that. Tucker,
all right, let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Wade Wilson. He didn't say it on 3.
1, 2, 3. Wade Wilson. I forgot one of the cards, and I for some reason was thinking that I wanted to say Weapon X. Like, no, there was someone different with a W. Wade Wilson. I said it at the same time as you. Crazy.
Say Wade Wilson.
Wade Wilson, I think, is going to be the hardest to use. I'm hoping it's going to be better than what we're actually thinking, but you're entirely correct that it will. I believe you're entirely correct that it's probably not going to be amazing. I'm going to hope you're wrong, but I'll believe you're correct, I think, is my current answer, I think, with this. But I think for the next one, though, I want to say this. I feel like I'm going to say the next one, and I'm really stoked about him. But I think I'm going to say Phantom X.
Phantom X as your second to last?
As my number 9, yeah. Because it's 10 cards this season, right? I think I got that wrong last time. I'm just trying to verify. It's only 10 cards. Yeah. But I feel like that's I don't know. Would you agree with that? What do you feel on? How you feeling for that slot?
This is really tough because, I think Wade Wilson is bad. But I think some of these other cards aren't necessarily just, bad. Maybe just not something I'm, really hyped about kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think I probably go Weapon X.
You would put Weapon X there. I think... Yeah, we'll talk about... I feel like Weapon X has a home. I just don't think it's going to be in traditional destroy. Is currently where I'm at with Weapon X. And whether or not that means it's good is a different conversation. But that's fair. So who would you have as your 8 then?
I might actually just put Chamber 8.
Yeah, Chamber is the one I would probably agree with for 8. I'm a little bit higher on Weapon X. I think you are. I think Chamber is, I don't know, right? It's a 2 cost. It's an activate. Technically, it's easy. It just doesn't. I just don't know why I'm it. It just doesn't feel like an interesting one. Maybe it's gonna be fine. I'm kind of just left meh more on it personally, but I do think I think that number 7 would be that's where Weapon X goes, I think, for me.
Weapon X at your 7. I will put this is actually tough because a lot of these cards are just
here's the thing. We're not potentially, right? We're not saying this is just A to F tier or whatever. We're just saying in the group of cards that we have,
Mhm.
where does everything rank?
I'm gonna put Fanto at my 7.
Okay. So our bottom 4 are looking the same.
Mhm.
Let's see how it changes as we go further. What are you thinking for the next slot?
For
your number
my
6.
6, I'm gonna put Marrow.
Really, Marrow's there. That's
Mhm.
not. I feel like I'm higher on Marrow. Maybe not. I'm actually gonna throw. All right, I'm gonna say that I think, and as much as it's 50 between, honestly, my 5 and 6 are Aurora and Wild Child.
Okay, I have Wild Child
And
at my 5.
I promise, I just don't know which one is in which slot. I'm uncertain. I feel like I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Wild Child at 6, in the hopes that they gave the Aurora the extra point of power, and that's enough to change it up.
Well,
So
can
I'm
I
gonna say
swap?
Aurora's.
Let me put Wild Child at 6 and Marrow at 5. That's what I'm gonna swap.
Wild Child 6, Marrow 5. Yeah, sure, I'm down. Sure, I like that. Honestly, I feel like it's gonna be a little bit easier that way. I agree personally, but yeah, I think that's fair. And then for my number 4, I think. Actually, is that where Marrow goes? Right, so the last 3 cards I would have are, I've got Weapon H, the skills, and Marrow's number 4.
Okay. I'll have Aurora at my number 4.
That's fair. I like it. So we definitely both have the same top 3. We both have the, which, by the way, again, I love the fact that skills now feel more like skills.
We have 11 cards, so we have 4 cards left.
What are the cards we have? I missed another one?
We still have.
I can't count.
So we have this season. We have Weapon X, Animatium Infusion. Then we have Chamber, Wade
and Maverick.
Wilson, and Maverick.
God, I can't count for the life of anything.
So
all right. What?
So top 4 we have are very similar.
I'm putting Maverick actually at number 4.
Okay.
I'm not as stoked on Silver Surfer is the answer. Also, I'm now annoyed that I have to redo all of my numbering because I do this in a Discord message rather than, using an actual way to keep track of things like a normal human being. So you tell me what your next one is while I angrily type stuff.
Mine, I think I already told you, or my Aurora, I guess would be my 5 there.
Yeah.
Okay, so then my number 4 is going to be Weapon H.
Really? Weapon H is all the way down there? I felt like you were going to be higher on that.
I mean, it's probably my favorite card of the season, but I'm trying to think like holistically.
That's fair. All right, so Weapon H as number 4. I'll say, I think for my, are we at top 3 for now for both of us? Which means, so we have a slight difference here. Which then, so number 4 is my Marrow. Number 3, I'm actually going to say my number 3 is the Adamantium Infusion.
Okay.
I feel like I'm stoked on it, but the fact that you need that extra slot makes me more concerned about it. I am stoked on it, but I do think it's
that's my number 3.
It's in that slot for me. That's your number 3. Okay, so we've got some interesting things. So we both have our top 2. We both have Fastball Special in our top 2. However, you've got Maverick in there, and I've got Weapon H.
Yep.
So rather than telling me your number 2, who's the number 1?
Fastball Special is number 1.
100% agreed with you. Yeah, the Fastball Special is the coolest card.
Back-to-back skills also, for seasons to be number 1.
You remember when we talked about it? Again, I love the fact that we've said it before. They take a second to land in terms of like what they're trying to do for like all the different mechanics, or whatever they introduce into the game. And skills was one. I remember. I even was looking through old thumbnails a bit ago, and I was like, "Wow, yeah, we did one where it was like skill issue because it was like we had issues with the skills." Which I forgot about the title, and I thought that was a fun one. And I'm looking back at this stuff, and I'm like, "Yeah, they've really come into their own with skills. They've done a much better job with the way that they are implemented now that we're like that much more interested in it."
Yeah, no, the skills look crazy, and they continue to look crazy as next season happens too. Or the following.
True. We'll talk about it next season eventually. But Tuck, just to give us a recap, you have your number 1 is Fastball Special. Number 2, Maverick. Number 3, Adamantium Infusion. Number 4 is Weapon H. Number 5, Aurora. Number 6, Marrow. Number 7 is your Wild Child. Number 8, Phantom X. Number 9 is Chamber. Number 10 is Weapon X. And number 11 is Wade Wilson. I do agree with you on the Wade Wilson. However, Phantom X is my number 10. Chamber is my number 9. Weapon X is my number 8. Wild Child is my number 7. I've got Aurora at 6. Maverick at 5. Marrow at 4. Adamantium Infusion at number 3. Weapon H at number 2, because I do think there's going to be a lot of payoffs for that destroy deck or discard deck. And Fastball Special as my number 1 as well, because this card seems so cool.
Yeah, no, this card looks crazy. And we're getting it from a game mode, guys. Hopefully it is not a $100 card like Kid Omega. But that is going to be the gist of our breakdown for the Weapon X season cards. But we do have some decks we want to go over as well before we move on to our next section, which we are going to
have a bunch of decks we're going to talk about.
Yeah,
here,
we do have a bunch of decks
section
in general, which they are pulling up. They're hidden behind the Fastball Special because I wanted to be an element of surprise as we go over Dance's first deck over here, which is the Weapon X deck of choice here.
I mean, I feel like if there was a place you want to use Weapon X, I think it is this place. I actually think armor probably should be a Cosmo, potentially, is the current change I'm thinking about, which sounds weird, but I think you use Killmonger to get around it, and also it stops you from getting Shadow Kinged or the skill that I'm thinking of here, Deafening Chord. Stops both of those. So I feel like actually I'm gonna say that I wanted to swap that and pretend like I definitely did that in the correct way there, which sounds weird to put it in here, but also I liked a version of this deck in the past. I think Killmonger is gonna be one of the best cards for Weapon X, and a deck that uses death in this way feels like another really cool place to use it.
Yeah, I think it looks interesting. I think we have a kind of like similar vibe because I went more like Morgan Le Fay style. Kind of with the list too, and having fire here also to proc some of these like abilities again, kind of thing. I think it is pretty much like token fodder is like your thought process here with Weapon X in order to get the most value out of it. Like you have Sheena for the other 1-cost cards, we have Squirrel Girl and other options there. So I think it makes a lot of sense there for that to be kind of more like the mid-rangey kind of deck. I think for Weapon X opposed to like the big
I hope that this OTA they make it so Shauna doesn't generate skills. That's my one actual request. I know we're not doing an OTA section. My request is that she only generates characters because her generating skills sucks. She's gotten worse.
Dance is a firm believer on that. Someone in chat was actually talking about that, or in the comments on the last video was actually like, no, Dance, you're wrong.
It's truthful. They're wrong if they say differently. I missed that comment, but yeah. Anyway, I do like both these places. I think there's gonna be a similar style. I think Carnage, Venom, Killmonger, and then I think Squirrel Girl are gonna be probably essential with the Weapon X. The question is what else you really want to do. Death as well obviously feels pretty good.
And then for your deck over here, you have a Black Panther Zola Sage iteration of the Fire Hair Phoenix Force deck.
I mean, yeah, it felt like another really cool place to be able to use stuff. I think Phoenix Force, it's one of the interesting things I thought about with Phoenix Force versus Adamantium Infusion was you're dealing with a Negasonic potentially, or you're dealing with a Danger Room. Both Adamantium Infusion gets around that.
Yes, it does.
And I liked that section. So we'll see how good it is. But that was my idea here. The deck makes sense. It's a deck that's existed.
Yeah, I have the zombie version I've been playing a bit as well, and I swapped out Phoenix Force for Adamantium Infusion. Just so I can target which card I want to get revived, because it's the Zombie Giant Man or the Cassandra Nova are the main cards you're pretty much trying to revive here. And then you have, of course, like Fire Hair in both these lists is to get exponential just value in general from the cards that have been destroyed. And then what's really cool is, you can use Elixir as, a targeted revive in both lists. And then I have Superior Spider-Man actually in this list as well, where you have Ravonna for your energy chain for your Kid Omega, your Sage, and your Zola. I have Superior Spider-Man in case I need some of those extra energy for later turns as well.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff here. I like these three. And then Chamber, I said I was coping, and I understand I'm coping. I actually talked with Tuck about this one because I was like, I knew I wanted to do this. I had no idea what I wanted to do. But like, Tuck, I'm going to force you to help me make this deck. And this is what we landed on. I liked the idea with this. Again, just being able to activate Chamber after you use the Nick Fury. Felt like a cool idea.
Yeah, no, I think you have a bunch of different options here. Like Dino counts as a 5 cost or higher, and then you also have Eson to be able to get some of these value from the Nick Fury. Of course, it doesn't mitigate a little bit from the Devil Dino itself, but you have Luna Snow for some of this energy. Playing Luna Snow into your Iron Patriot lane more often than not should help you win that lane. And of course, Iron Patriot generates 4, 5, or 6 cost cards. So you can have that as another potential option for some of this chamber value. Of course, Quinjet discounting them too is really nice, and you're creating a bunch of cards with Victoria Hand. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then I just did Hela, and I just had a variety of different options to do things with Hela, playing more of the Scar Death version opposed to having the Giganto and like no Legion and no Alioth in this version. I know Dennis is running Alioth and Legion still in his versions, but I wanted to have just greater cost in hand for better like potential Sith value as another just really good blink target. And of course, Gambit always hits the cards you want it to hit. So you have that there. So it's pretty much just, Hela, and that in mind is 5 potential cards if you had the perfect God curve for your chamber there, which would be a 213, which is pretty good on a lane by itself.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm interested to see how chamber actually lands. It could easily be better, right? In just terms of, hey, this helps your curve. Or I'm also wondering how much I don't know. We'll have to see how it actually goes as time takes on here. But I like what we can do with these decks. And speaking of things we can do with these decks, there is an interesting thing about Grand Arena that we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. Grand Arena this time around, Dance, is only with set decks, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't... We'll have to see how this actually lands, but it basically means you're not going to be dealing with the tech cards. You're not going to be dealing with a lot of other stuff here. So how good is that going to actually be? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm interested in seeing how this goes in terms of, in content, engagement, which one's best, if they're making balance changes midway through. I don't know. There's a lot of questions, I think, with the Grand Arena, with them doing it this way. So I'm interested in seeing how that goes. There's of course, Destroy there. You've got your Iron Man deck, which I think the champion for that one in particular was also weird, right? I feel like it was.
Well, I mean, the champion for Iron Man is Iron Man.
Oh, sorry, his skill that he has. After this turn, give your champion +2 power for each location you're winning, which is what is the point of this run, right? You want to be able to try to win a bunch of decks. You got a bunch of higher power bits, which I get it. It's interesting. I don't know if it's gonna be good, but I like trying to lean into it. Yeah, I mean, they're all funky, and do you remember we did the Airship Anarchy forever ago?
Yes. Right?
Like, I'm kind of getting vibes of it, so I'm interested in that stuff. However, speaking of things that are really weird,
this gets, I think the Sentinel is what? Sentinel gets +1 power for each non-Sentinel created card
there's a 4-cost, there's a 4-cost skill that says, give your Sentinels +1 power for each created card you've played this game that isn't a Sentinel. So played means that Merlin's skills are amazing.
Oh, wait, really? Merlin's skill? Oh my gosh. I forgot to attract that too.
And there's even a little, like, you see a parentheses next to the side, so it tells you how many things you've gotten in the ability of it. So, yeah, this is one that I'm like, at first I thought the worst of it, but then I realized Merlin's skills counted, and I'm like, wait a second. Huh.
I hadn't thought about that at all. Actually, no, that's makes this the set. Right, you get some huge Sentinels on the board.
Yeah. No, I love it. This is super cool and super interesting. So I support this. I think it's awesome. Speaking of other things, they put Clog in.
Yeah.
But they balanced the entire metagame. I feel like this deck is one of the reasons why they said they didn't want that, like, we're only getting pre-constructed decks.
Oh, well, probably because they're probably could be like other crazy things here.
Which, by the way, the Annihilus' skill is just basically allow feasibility, same cost. It's just your champion steals 1 power from each other card here. That's it.
Yeah.
I think it's all data mined. I don't know if those are actually confirmed officially, but
they're data mined on
interesting
this
at
too.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're data mined. I think these, I believe these decks are correct, though. But yeah, weird stuff, fun stuff. Hopefully, good stuff.
And then
Panther champion.
A big buff deck over here with Scarlet Spider. And of course, with Grand Arena, guys, you do start off with 2 energy. So you're gonna be. That's why you're starting off with some of these cards as like 2 costs, and you also start off with your champion in hand with their skill
and the skill that they have.
Yeah.
I'm so interested in this deck. I think that there's pros and cons to them doing only pre-constructed decks. I am very interested in how this goes because of that.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting kind of to see what happens there. But I do think one definitively of like the best decks is going to be like the Cap Champion deck. I think this deck is going to be disgusting.
This deck does seem really good. For what it's worth, the Shield Throw as well has Captain America's ability, as he's the champion of it, says on reveal, put an ongoing card from your deck here with +1 power. Shuffle a copy of this into your deck, which then just basically lets you keep replaying things from your deck or whatever. And the King E tree for that is also really interesting. So we'll wait and see. But at the same time, this is cool, and I love what they're doing here.
Yeah, you got some really cool options with this. You got some Omega Red value too, which is, playing a little homage to, being a Weapon X X-Men season, getting Omega Red to potentially.
I think
get
it's
some
also
play.
one of the variants for this month.
Yeah, I think it's what? It's Sabretooth, Wolverine,
Sabretooth and
Weapon X1, Omega Red. Yeah. So we'll see how that works. And then Rocket and Groot in a Rocket deck. Groot, Rocket, like all sorts of different.
No Drax.
Yeah, no. Literally no Drax.
Dude, Drax is so bad. Drax is actually like, there's no reason to play Drax ever. He's the worst. But this is cool.
No, this is a cool.
I love what they're doing.
Little bounce shenanigans there.
And then speaking of the bouncing, Rocket Raccoon's skill he has, as he's the leader or the champion of this deck, as a 2-cost skill called Massive Arsenal that says on reveal, banish this to move your champion here. Imagine if the freaking Vibranium and Fusion worked like that.
If they actually worded banish on Animatium Infusion and then the thing happened, that's how it would not take a
That's what I wish it was. It doesn't say that. So anyway, repeat its on reveal and add a copy of this to your hand, which is a 2-cost skill. That's like, you just keep doing it everywhere.
Go crazy. And you got Joaquin there too, and then
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
because it repeats its on reveal, which also means that that's so good. Chamber in the Thanos deck was not something I expected.
Yeah, actually having one of the new cards in in the game mode.
I mean, that does mean that if you actually, if you are someone who does not have Chamber and then you play in the game mode and you get boosters for Chamber, I've seen people ask this before. The boosters for Chamber will basically just sit in Chamber forever until you unlock Chamber.
They'll be locked
and then you'll
in
just
the
immediately have
chamber
boosters
until you get the chamber opened.
Exactly. This deck. God, this is weird.
Lockjaw, King E-Tree. You have a bunch of different 1-cost stones for Coal Obsidian. Space Stone is dead.
Space Stone doesn't work.
Yep.
But also, for Thanos' skill is a 4-cost skill that says, on reveal, if your champion is in play with 20 or more power, destroy front row enemy cards here, even unrevealed ones.
You get Old Kingpin and Old Goliath.
God, this is going to... all the decks look really interesting. I'm excited to play with all of them and see what they do. We haven't looked over them. We've looked over a bunch of different pieces. We basically sprinkled Grand Arena out because we've had so much stuff to talk about over all these episodes. But all these look really interesting, and it's going to be weird that we can only use them.
Yeah. No deck creativity there. And like, I wonder if it's going to make the metagame like 2 or 3 different decks that people are just playing. Which, like, in general, Grand Arena, that happens sometimes, but like people, flex certain cards in and stuff too.
Yeah. So there's 2 things with that. For one, by the way, Thanos is, I think it's going to be part of, they said, the shop rewards or whatever. So if someone doesn't have Thanos, a newer player, you can get Thanos.
Annihilus and Thanos both are in
that's cool.
the shop too. So if you don't have Annihilus as well, you could get Annihilus.
I know I'm gonna have to do some playing on my free to play. The other thing I felt that I'm uncertain about, I think is the best way to say it, is I I know that there's going to be stuff where it's like, okay, cool. If it's only going to be these, maybe 1 or 2 decks are going to become like the competitive decks, quote unquote. And so everyone's going to be running that deck. And that's going to be annoying, I think. But I also know from other metagames of other card games, there can be times where there's 3 decks you're supposed to play, and that's it.
Yeah. Even in Snap, it felt
And
like
so
in some of these, times it's happened before.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering how well these 8 are bounced around each other. How well, if there is going to be an immediate best one. I'm hoping there's not. I'm hoping we're going to have a good variety of decks as we go through stuff. But we're basically going to have to wait and see.
There's no Shadow King and no Shang-Chi.
There's no
Killmonger.
tech, basically.
The only destroy tech...
Is there Killmonger?
No Killmonger. The only destroy tech is like Thing for steps. And then you have Affliction with Rocket and Groot, as well as with, with Laufey and Annihilus.
And then this deck has a lot of stuff here. And there's no Lucas, so...
No Luke, but you have Merlin to potentially for some of these clog items. And then...
Yeah, we'll have to... I'm hoping there's a rock, paper, scissors in this, basically, where it feels like some of these decks that have a lot of pieces are going to be rough against the Ajax one. Whereas these decks where it's very few cards you're actually going to have on the board, kind of similar to the Destroy one or the Black Panther one, maybe you don't care. I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff. I'm interested in Grand Arena. Let us know, of course, down below how it goes for y'all.
Yeah, the word of the day is going to be Chamber. So if you guys did make it to the very end of the video, please start your comment with Chamber. And hope you guys do also enjoy the brand new season. Let us know down below what your thoughts are, what cards you guys looking most forward to. And then we will get back to you guys. We have another Yap next week, which we'll be talking about the OTA. And we'll have some other just new interesting topics to talk about. But we appreciate you guys watching. It's been real. God bless. And laters.